Chiefs Kingdom, take a deep breath. I know the air is heavy. I know the coffee tastes like ash today. But something very strange and, frankly, scary is happening in the corridors of power in Kansas City. If you thought the 28-31 loss to the Dallas Cowboys was just another game in the NFL season, you are completely mistaken. The image that won't leave my head and shouldn't leave yours isn't the final score. It isn't the blown coverage on defense. It is Clark Hunt's face. The owner of the Kansas City Chiefs, the man who is usually the definition of calm and stoic posture, is on edge. And when the owner of the keys to Arrowhead loses his composure, the ground shakes beneath the feet of Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and Steve Spagnuolo. We saw a collapse. We saw the defense give up 31 points. We saw wasted opportunities. And worst of all, we saw the Hunt family's pride wounded by their biggest historical rival off the field. Today, we aren't just going to analyze stats. We are going to get inside the front office's head. We are going to dissect why this specific loss activated a neon red alert signal that could change the team's approach for the rest of the season on the road to the Three-Peat. If you think everything is fine, stop here. But if you want to understand the storm brewing behind the scenes and what this means for the legacy of the Mahomes dynasty, keep reading. Because the message that came down from the executive suite was clear and cutting. To contextualize the disaster, the Kansas City Chiefs fell to the Dallas Cowboys 28-31. A game that, on paper, was winnable. A game that, in many moments, we had in our hands. The offense produced, Mahomes worked his magic, but the consistency vanished when we needed it most. The defense, which has been the backbone of this season, gave up crucial yards and points in moments where we usually shut the door. And the offense, despite the 28 points, failed in clock management and in converting critical downs that would have sealed the victory. But the context here goes beyond the gridiron. Losing to the Dallas Cowboys isn't like losing to the Jacksonville Jaguars. There's historical weight, a weight of NFL royalty involved, and walking off the field defeated by 3 points. Watching Jerry Jones' team celebrate is a gut punch to the organization. Let's talk about the real conflict, the one that is making Clark Hunt's blood boil. The Kingdom's conflict isn't just about the AFC West standings. We are still the kings of the division. The problem is hubris versus execution. For those who don't know the history, the Hunt family and the Dallas Cowboys have a rivalry that goes back to the founding of the franchise itself. Lamar Hunt, Clark's father, founded the Chiefs, originally the Dallas Texans, because the NFL wouldn't let him have a team in Dallas. He had to move the team to Kansas City because the city couldn't support two teams. Every time we lose to the Cowboys, it's like the ghost of that original dispute is revived. Clark Hunt sees this game as the Governor's Cup, as a matter of family honor, and seeing the team take the field unfocused, committing foolish penalties, giving up explosive plays, that is seen as disrespect to the standard of excellence, the gold standard he demands. The internal conflict now is, can Andy Reid shield the roster from this executive fury? Or will this pressure leak into the locker room and create unnecessary tension? Dynasty mode is threatened not by a lack of talent, but by a lack of urgency. And Clark Hunt just realized this in the worst way possible. You felt it. I felt it. The entire Chiefs Kingdom felt it. Watching this game, especially those final defensive drives where the Cowboys marched down the field, was like watching someone break into your house, open your fridge, drink your last cold beer, and walk out the front door laughing while you're tied to the couch. It was a violation of our territory, of our pride. Seeing Spagnuolo's defense, which is usually an impenetrable wall of steel, give up 31 points to Dak Prescott and company. It's like watching Superman get knocked out by a pizza delivery guy wearing an oven mitt. It makes no sense. It shouldn't happen. It is a break in the reality we have built. For Clark Hunt, seeing his team lose to Jerry Jones, this is like being the owner of a 5-star Michelin restaurant and watching the world's most important food critic choke on a piece of plastic in the food. It is unacceptable. It is shameful. And it demands an immediate cleanup in the kitchen. You might be thinking, oh, it's just a regular season game. We'll bounce back in the playoffs like we always do. But wait, that is just the tip of the iceberg. That mentality is exactly what is making Clark Hunt nervous. There is a pattern forming, a dangerous pattern that we have been ignoring because Mahomes always solves it in the end. But what about when he doesn't? What about when the magic runs out 1 second before the clock hits 0? Sources indicate that the post-game meeting wasn't the typical let's learn from this. There was silence. There were heavy glares. The body language of the front office in the tunnel suggested that heads could roll if the attitude doesn't change immediately. But hold on. Because the real reason for Hunt's fury has a statistical component that almost no one in the traditional media is talking about. ... Let's go deeper. Why 31 points? What happened to the elite defense? The Kansas City Chiefs entered this game with tactical arrogance. Spagnuolo called exotic blitzes that left the middle of the field open, and CeeDee Lamb and the Cowboys receivers feasted on that space. But the problem wasn't the aggression, it was the execution. Missed tackles, communication errors in the secondary. Basic things, high school fundamentals that a back-to-back champion team cannot miss. And the offense, yes, 28 points is good. But 28 points in a shootout against Dallas is not enough. We had opportunities in the red zone that turned into field goals or worse, nothing. The Mahomes-Scales connection seemed out of sync in key moments. Clark Hunt knows that. To win the Three-Peat, legendary Three-Peat margin for error is 0. He is seeing the team flirt with danger week after week. We won tight games against mediocre teams. And now, when the level rose against a playoff opponent, we blinked. Hunt's nervousness comes from the perception that the team is drunk on success. The hunger seems to have diminished, and in the NFL, when the hunger diminishes, you get devoured. But there is a detail that changes everything in this narrative of a tired team. There is a rumor circulating about a possible move or change in the play-calling structure. Clark Hunt rarely interferes with Andy Reid's work, but the pressure on offensive coordinator Matt Nagy or the execution of the plays might be reaching a boiling point. Hunt wants to see fire in their eyes, not complacency, and he might force a hand to ensure the focus returns. But what really kept the team owner up at night was something that happened off camera right after the final whistle. Let's get technical for a minute, Kingdom. Look at what happened in the fourth quarter. Cowboys on the 40-yard line. The Chiefs show blitz 0. It's a high-stakes bet. If you get to the QB, it's a sack or a turnover. If you down quotes T ... it's a touchdown. We didn't get there. This gamble by Spagnuolo, which has saved us so many times, failed spectacularly here. And why? Because the defensive line was exhausted. The rotation didn't work. And Clark Hunt, who invested millions in Chris Jones and the depth of the line, is seeing that investment fail in physical conditioning or rotation strategy. Furthermore, we have the turnover battle factor. The Chiefs lost the turnover battle or tied in a costly way. In the Mahomes era, when we lose the turnover battle, our winning percentage drops drastically. Hunt is a numbers man. He sees the trend. We are becoming careless with the ball. And we can't forget the psychological aspect. Losing to the Cowboys gives ammunition to the national media. Stephen A. Smith, Skip Bayless, all of them will spend the week saying the dynasty is over. Clark Hunt hates that. He hates for the Chiefs brand to be questioned. He built this brand to be untouchable, like Brady's Patriots or Jordan's Bulls. This 28-31 loss wasn't an accident. It was a warning that talent alone doesn't beat scheme and an opponent's will on inspired days. And here is what no one saw, or what was hidden between the lines of the post-game statements. The revelation. Sources close to the organization suggest that Clark Hunt had a brutally honest conversation with Andy Reid and Brett Veach. It wasn't a firing, far from it, but it was an ultimatum about discipline. The number of mental penalties, offsides, false starts, unsportsmanlike conduct has exploded. The bomb here is that Clark Hunt believes the team has lost the discipline that made it a champion. He feels the players are believing their own hype. And the loss to Dallas was, in his view, necessary. Yes, you heard that right. The team owner, despite being furious, might be seeing this loss as the bitter pill necessary to cure the patient before the disease becomes fatal in the playoffs. His fury isn't out of despair. It's out of demand. He is nervous because he knows that this roster is capable of being the greatest in history, and they played like a mid-table team against Dallas. He is demanding that the master switch be flipped now, not in January. Now, if this loss serves to wake the sleeping giant, Clark Hunt will accept the 28-31 score as the price to pay for the Lombardi Trophy in February. But if the attitude doesn't change, drastic changes could happen in the offseason regardless of the final result. But what if... What if the problem is deeper, and what no one saw was in the post-game medical report? There are whispers that some stars played while hurt, sacrificing their bodies, which explains the drop in performance in the fourth quarter. If this is true, Andy Reid's roster management will be put under the microscope like never before. Now, Chiefs Kingdom, the ball is in your court. The front office is on high alert. The owner is demanding answers. and we, the fans, are in the middle of the crossfire. I need your honest opinion. No sugarcoating, is Clark Hunt's fury justified, and does the team need this reality check to wake up for the three-peat? Or is the owner exaggerating and putting unnecessary pressure on a team that just had a bad day at the office? Is this management genius demanding perfection, or is it the beginning of an internal crisis that will implode the locker room? Leave your answer in the comments. I want to see the debate catch fire, because that is what strengthens the kingdom. Smash the like button if you stand with the Chiefs in victory or defeat. Subscribe, hit the bell, because the coverage of this crisis will continue here day after day. We don't run from the fight. Keep your heads up, kingdom. The war isn't over yet.